Okay, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. We are here with Ashley for the second half of the Wife Rule podcast. All right, so in this half, we're going to talk about her dating experience with men, and then we're also going to talk about any questions that she has for men that she wants to ask me that I could possibly give her the answer for. Okay, so let's go to your dating experience with men.
Okay. My dating experience. Oh, Lord.
Just pick somewhere to start.
I don't know where to begin. It's I don't want to say terrible, but it definitely has been a journey.
It's okay. You can say terrible.
Yeah,
I done heard terrible so many times.
I think, okay, so let me just start out by saying this. I think the issue with a lot of men is that they don't know how to properly and unapologetically communicate their wants.
Okay, break it down.
Okay, so typically in my experience, I come across a lot of guys, or at least in the past, that don't really want anything super serious, but I don't find out until like later on.
Okay, I see.
So it's kind of like it doesn't progress beyond anything physical, honestly. Or yeah. I think I've only probably had one serious relationship with a guy, and that was in high school. And of course, you know, high school relationships, not really a whole lot of them are that stable. So
How long was y'all dating? The whole 4 years?
no, just like a year and a half, maybe off and on.
Junior, senior year?
Yeah.
So
And
junior,
then
senior.
we broke up before we went to college, and we ended up going to the same school.
The same college?
Yeah.
Y'all broke up just to see each other again.
You know, it was weird because even though we were at the same school, I rarely saw him like that.
Okay, I see. Okay, so I'm glad that worked out.
Yeah.
That would have turned into a little stalker situation. That would have been crazy.
Maybe not. I don't know. I think it was fun.
You don't think that he's not that type? I was talking about you though. If you would have turned into a stalker to him.
Nah, no. I definitely grew up a lot.
Okay, so no more stalking.
No.
Okay, so no more stripping and no more stalking for those who didn't catch the first part. Okay, so after that, when you went to college, was your experience in college more with women or more with men?
More with men.
Okay, so how was that?
Ghetto. It was very ghetto.
Talk to the people. Tell them.
Like once again, it wasn't anything filled with any substance. Like
Okay.
it was just more on the fun side, I guess.
A bunch of meaningless interactions.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much.
So pretty much what I'm picking up from you is that when you are interested in somebody and they're interested in you, you like to know that they're interested in you, and then you want them to have efforts that follow up that they're interested, and then you want that interest to lead somewhere, to start to progress to like, okay, let's talk about the future that we have together, us moving in, our financial stuff, where we plan to live, stuff like that. Pretty much a substantial future.
Yeah.
You wanted to end in marriage.
I would like to. I still do believe in marriage. I know, I get it. It's just a paper. It doesn't really matter that much. But at least like I don't know, maybe a ceremony of partnership or some shit. I would like a ring.
Some type of something that symbolizes your love for each other.
Absolutely.
I think that's fair.
I think it is too.
I think that's pretty fair. Okay, so, all right. Would you be opposed to marrying a man and a woman?
At the same time?
I don't know if the ceremony got to be the same day, but like.
No, I think I would. I would rather just be married and committed to one person.
To one person.
Whether it be a man or a woman, I don't know how I'm gonna feel. You know, during that time when it is time to happen, or who my true love is. I really don't know. But I would prefer it to just be one person.
So when you're in a relationship with a woman, you don't get no urges to be with a man, or vice versa. That's interesting. That's a first. That is a first. I think that when I was in the poly relationship for the last 6 months of that other relationship, that the dynamics of it were so interesting because we had both the masculine and the feminine energies right there all the time. And then when you have a situation like that, everything is split 3 ways. So let's say that we was gonna buy some property and the property was $90,000. Now we're doing 30, 30, 30. One was a nurse, one was an actress on TV, and then I'm a public figure. So it was pretty easy for us to bust it down in that way. Is that something you would ever consider?
Splitting it into threes?
No, not just like that part, but I mean like the whole system of that.
Of like splitting 50-50?
No, not splitting the 50-50 part. The being in a relationship with both. If that's what you're
At the same time.
At the same time.
No.
Have you ever done that before?
No.
Have you ever even had a threesome before?
No.
Okay, now that makes sense. That's interesting. I've never seen someone who's bisexual actually have that split to where when you with a woman, you with the woman, and then when you with a man, you with the man. That's interesting.
I think because for me, I feel like once I'm with you, I'm with you.
With
like
you,
I
yeah.
love hard, so.
And that's why you started stalking old dude when I was in college, because you loved hard.
Maybe.
Yeah. I just gave him the explanation too.
No.
I hope he hears that.
God, no. But yeah, I don't think I could do that at the same time at least. But for clarification, I've only been bisexual technically for like the past year, maybe. Not even a year yet.
Oh, okay, so you still really new to the game.
I'm still new to the game.
Okay, so all right, so we're gonna have to revisit that part.
All right.
Once you actually go on a date with a guy and a girl at the same time. I don't think that you've ever actually had have you had that contrast before? Where two people from the opposite sex like you at the same time and
No.
they're both in, okay, so you haven't had that.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so yeah, you would have to experience it first and for you to be able to say yes or no. I think that's fair.
That's fair.
Okay, I think that's fair. All right, so are there any questions that you have as far as like for men that you ponder on that you would like to ask me that I could possibly give you the answer?
Okay. Because I have seen a video about this before. Why do men suddenly say that they have a lot going on and they can't continue anything on further?
Like relationship wise?
Yeah.
That's a cop out. It's a cop out.
Feel
That,
like-
yeah, that's his way of saying my expectations for what I thought that this was going to be isn't that. So let's say that you just want a woman for sex, and then you realize that it's going to take. She got a 90-day rule, or she got a 120-day rule, or something like that. That's when you would get that random text like, "Hey, I got a lot of stuff that I got to take care of," and stuff like that. A lot of stuff just means that he want to focus on other girls that are easier than him, than that whoever that woman is. That's one reason. Another reason is you could be so perfect that he is intimidated by how much he's gonna have to step up. Everybody has ideas. Like when I became wealthy, I realized that the women that were around before, that they had no idea how to talk to me now. Like you don't change, the people around you change. So the more emotionally intelligent that you are, is the more intimidating that it is for some men to talk to you because they know they're gonna have to effectively communicate, and they never had to do that before. They would have had sex with who they wanted to, and then move forward. Kind of like what you were saying about college.
So yeah, that probably leads me into a follow-up question. Why on earth is it so hard for men to communicate? Or at least the majority of men.
What's your definition of communication?
I feel like communication is you simply just saying your wants, your needs, how you feel, like acknowledging your feelings. I think the older that I've gotten, the more that I am able to acknowledge how I feel, and I feel like that's important because I'm not going to know unless you tell me. I'm not a mind reader, and I don't expect for anyone to read my mind. So if I have an issue, I'll say it, but I expect that same thing in return. But for some reason, and maybe it isn't even just with men, I think it's just with people in general a lot of times, like they have a hard time just being honest. And it doesn't even matter how blunt or how it comes out, just say what you mean what you say.
Okay. So now we got to go back to, there's 99% of poverty and 1% of wealth. That's always been a thing since I was a baby, since you were a baby, and that's still currently what's going on right now. A lot of people are insecure about their situation, so they don't want to communicate too much because then they have to look in the mirror. When you say stuff out loud, it kind of turns back on you to have to stand on everything that you said. So if they don't say nothing, then they can never be incriminated for what they didn't say. So it's kind of like if a dude got a girlfriend and you be like, you got a girlfriend, and he be like, why you worried about that? He never said yes or no. So if you find out that he got a girlfriend later, then you can never be like, but you said you had a girlfriend. No, I didn't. So it kind of, people learn the art of diversion and purposely miscommunication so that they're not incriminated for the stuff that they don't do. So I wouldn't take it personally. The more mental and the more emotional intelligence that you have is the harder that it's going to be to communicate with people, but it's going to be easier for you to read people. And you want to be able to read people more than you want to be able to communicate with them. Because since you're educated and you're doing your thing, it's going to be a lot more frequencies that you don't vibe with, because most people are not going to go to college, or they're just going to go to college and rack up a bunch of debt, or they're just going to have meaningless interactions. They take those same meaningless interactions in college and then have them in their real life, and it never stops. They never learn the proper way to actually live and be free. And then when the government gets a hold of them and taxes take over and stuff like that, and life just starts to drown them, then you will never get that communication that you want to get. That's over with.
It's a great piece.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, it makes sense.
So yeah, it's common. It's something that I ran into as well too. One of the reasons that me and my ex broke up was because once the first year that we was together, we were both poor. And then once I hit television and I got rich, she didn't. So our communication barrier was really bad. And then she came from a family where her family was telling her, never get a credit card. That's too much debt. Don't buy a house. That's too expensive. Don't do this. So she was like, never gonna have credit, always gonna rent. Pretty much everything that was gonna put her in the matrix of never having any passive income or wealth. And my mom was doing credit repair. Mom and dad was both working at the hospital. My mom opened up a lot of my credit cards for me. I had a relationship with Navy Federal when I was like 22. So usually people don't even get the chance to be with Navy Federal unless they have a veteran that's in the family that passes that down. So our communication was our wires was just crossed. And it never changed. For the entire 4 years that we was together, she never picked it up. She was so financially flustered. And it never changed. So that's why after the show, when you give me that, that's a Beamer, right?
Oh yeah.
That's Beamer?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, when you give me that Beamer, they gonna know why. Because you doing good and you just buy another one.
Ooh.
That was a lot to unpack, right?
Ooh. Yeah. Okay.
Did you have another question?
No, I think that's all of my questions. Yeah, because I think honestly, I'm not really trying to date right now. So
Why not?
Well, for one, I really want to focus on my career.
Which
I'm an
is?
actress first.
Okay.
Yes. And I really want to focus on that, make that happen before I ever decide to. I feel like dating and men, women, whatever, like it's always going to be there. I'm not pressured into it right now. I need to focus on me first.
What are your acting goals? What do you want to achieve in the acting space?
Ooh, I want to win an Oscar. I want to have like a major film, break into the action realm, be like one of the. I want to be like the next Pam Grier.
Okay.
And do you know who Pam Grier is?
Of course.
Okay.
I can't be who I am if I don't know who that is.
All right.
Yeah. So essentially what she's saying is that she wants one of these right here. Shout out to the Bowden Awards. And she wants to be shooting aliens off the top of a spaceship with Tom Cruise right next to her. And she wants to...
Jumping out of burning buildings.
She wants to be her own stuntman. So if she tries to hire a stuntman, remember right here, she said she don't need no stuntman. She can jump out of the 13th floor of that burning building herself.
Maybe.
With no launch pad at the bottom, just hard concrete.
Hard concrete.
So I think that's a dope goal.
Thanks.
What made you want to get into the acting space?
I always just liked it. I have a very creative spirit, and I wasn't able to acknowledge that growing up. I used to want to be an artist. That was my very first career that I ever wanted to do. Then it branched off into being a fashion designer. And then it was kind of shunned a little bit in my upbringing, at least. Because people often do look down upon creative people. They always think that that is kind of like a dead-end career because it doesn't make a whole lot of money. And you do have to have a lot of faith for it. And so that's what brought me to going to school. But I was like, you should just be a lawyer, a doctor, or something.
Yeah,
so I went and I, did what I had to do. I got my bachelor's in criminal justice, and I was about to start applying to law school. I took the LSAT like twice. It just was not doing anything for me. It really wasn't. It wasn't going how I needed it to go. And during COVID, well, like right before the pandemic hit, I had switched my minor over to theater. And majority of those classes were online, but once it got in person, I absolutely fell in love with it.
You fell in love, yes.
And when I was packing up my room, like right before graduation, I found this letter that I wrote to myself. It was a project in high school that we had to do. Our freshman self were writing a letter to our senior self.
Okay.
And I said at the end of my letter, P.S. I hope you get that TV show you've always wanted.
Oh, that's
because I've always wanted to be in like a TV series, like
okay.
just a lead, supporting, whatever. And from that moment, I was like, yeah, I gotta do it. And once I got my degree, nobody could really tell me anything. Were my parents disappointed at first? Absolutely. But I feel like, especially what I've learned then, because that was such an unhappy time for me because I was forcing someone else's strings on me. It's so important to do what you want to do in this life. Life is too short to not go after what you want.
100% agree. I don't know how you got through that many years of school with you not having a passion for criminal justice. So you just sucked it up.
Yeah. Well, I only did like 3 years.
Okay.
So
was it a 3-year program?
no, it was 4.
Okay, so you consolidated it.
I did summer classes.
Oh, you were serious.
I didn't care whether
okay.
I got a C or not. I just wanted to pass.
I see.
I mean, just get through it.
You wanted to get it over with.
Yeah.
Okay, so essentially that's parallel because when I got into the creative space, my mom made me go to college too. I went to audio engineering school, which ended up paying dividends. It was only a 9-month program. Shout out to SAE. It's right downtown Atlanta, and that was one of the greatest experiences ever. I thank her for that. But that was like the deal that we had. She was not going to look down upon me being a creator if I went ahead and just got my college degree. So I went ahead and did it.
That's really good. So now I'm getting my master's in psychology, but I actually like psychology because it does help me with my acting career. So it does help.
Very
Shout
true.
out to Georgia Southern, and shout out to Troy University. That's where I'm at right now.
How many more years do you have?
I should be finishing up next year with my graduate degree. Thank you.
So I'm gonna do you a solid. This is what I'm gonna do. I just got a script the other day. Shout out to my guy, Kale Bradley. He just invited me to his red carpet to view his last movie because he wanted me to be in his next movie and he wanted me to see some of his other work before we started working on the future thing. So what I'm known to do here within this space is I help cast every movie that I'm the lead character in. So now you will also have a role in this movie as well. I forgot the title of the movie. We went over so many different scripts. So shout out to Kale Bradley. We're gonna have to go back over the script again, and then this Ashley is gonna now be joining us on the cast of this next movie right here. And then this is gonna be some dope demo reel footage for you to have, and then you can start shopping that around to the agencies, and then I'll show you the proper way for you to do that, and then you'll officially be an actor, actress, and then you'll officially be in the game. And then you'll be even closer to getting one of these right here. Shout out to the Golden Awards. I appreciate y'all. All right, so that's gonna be a wrap for this episode right here. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
We learned so much about you today, about the stripping, and then about the mushrooms.
Oh my gosh, why do you keep saying that? I ain't never been a stripper, y'all.
We learned about the mushrooms. We learned about the acid. We learned about all of that. This was a dope episode. Did you want to tell them anything before we left?
I just want to say thank you for watching and stay tuned. Yes, because you're looking at a future great right here.
And with that being said, we out. I love y'all. Until next time.